Welcome to the broadcast, my good friend, cultural commentator, Christian leader Larry Tomczak. Welcome to the Line of Fire.
Mike, it's an honor to be with you today, and I want to say congratulations on that Newsweek article. Way to go, my brother.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, just pleased to be able to speak to so many that have different perspectives than us. Hey, Larry, before we focus in on what's happened with you and Ellen, you wrote a book some years ago called Divine Appointments, and we all commented that that's kind of the story of your life. Who are some of the people that, quote, by chance, accidentally, you've run into and given a tract to or shared the gospel with over the years?
Oh, Mike, I'll tell you, you caught me off guard, but one of the prominent ones was, believe it or not, President Richard Nixon. I asked him going into the White House, I bumped into him. That was a different era, but I asked him if he read the Bible, and he laughed. He said, I not only read it, but he said, I quote from it sometimes. And so those kind of, my heavens, Elizabeth Taylor, the late actress, and, you caught me off guard. I got a list of so many. Robert Dole, who ran for president, Charlton Heston. That was a big one. Moses, Ben-Hur, and the whole gang. That was a big one out in California one day.
It's wild. I mean, the chances of this happening to one person is just wild. And we were together years back. We were over, we met at the airport in California when you and I both lived in Maryland. It was one of the rare times we got to hang out many, many years ago. I walk away to make a phone call in the days before cell phones. I come back, and you're talking to two Supreme Court justices, Byron White and Thurgood Marshall, with their wives, giving them your life story tract. Just happened to run into them.
Well, Mike, just for accuracy, yeah, that was I still remember that at the L.A. airport. But this was the most amazing thing was I always carry a testimonial tract. It's personal. I believe if you give 2 or 3 a year, you can reach 1,000 people every year. That's 40, 50,000 in your lifetime. And I tried to give it to Thurgood Marshall,
right,
who's died since, but he refused it. He said, no, as a Supreme Court justice, I can't do this. But if you recall, when we were walking onto the plane, Divine Appointment, we were right behind him and his wife. And so I gave it to his wife, and I said, could you give this to your husband? And she said, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Larry, we'll be right back. I want to talk about what happened with Ellen DeGeneres. She has addressed my friend Larry on national TV.
It's a pastor who wrote an article for the Christian Post where he accuses Hollywood of having a gay agenda and said that Ellen DeGeneres celebrates her lesbianism and marriage in between appearances of guests like Taylor Swift to attract young girls.
All right, those were the words of Ellen DeGeneres responding to my friend Larry Tomczak. Larry, first, why did you write an article and mention Ellen? And then second, were you surprised to get word that she had addressed you by name?
Well, Mike, each week, like you, I believe in communicating truth through commentaries. I do it on 3 sites similar to you. And so I did one on just, as you say, the avalanche, I said, of the propaganda coming through the media today from Hollywood, supporting the gay agenda, LGBTQ agenda. And then, I mentioned her because I cited in my article factually just some of the shows. It wasn't exhaustive that are, I believe, celebrating and promoting this agenda. So I was, to answer your question, stunned when I awoke a few days ago and somebody's saying, hey, do you know that Ellen is speaking to you? And literally when I watched it, there she is saying, Larry, you must be watching a lot of gay programming. Larry, it was funny. And then it's been a roller coaster ride, Mike. I just can't believe all these things. And today I found out you told me Washington Times put it. I'm thinking, man, may this go before the president, Supreme Court, because we're upholding the sanctity of marriage. And this gives us a great opportunity, and it's a divine appointment. And I publicly thank you for helping me, coaching me, in this.
Yeah, and Larry, what happened was you immediately wrote a gracious response, but you also laid out what you believe and why. And the beautiful thing is that those that are covering this now and getting thousands of shares in different websites, news sites, they are giving your response as well. So I want to play what Ellen had to say. and then I want to give you an opportunity to interact with it. Clip number 2.
Okay, let's just break this down. First of all, I'm not married. I'm married. That's all. And Larry, I don't even know what it means to celebrate my lesbianism. I mean, well, I guess I do. It's like that. There.
All right, Larry, why did you put the word marriage, as I do as well when talking about same-sex, quote, marriage, why did you put marriage in quotes? That's what she was referring to.
Well, Mike, both of us, and I trust most of the listeners, have a biblical worldview where we understand, number one, marriage, we believe, is defined by God as the union of a man and a woman. So I would go to the scriptures, and then also, as our founding fathers spoke, of nature's God, that God designed men and women to complement one another. And part of that beauty in marriage is procreation and bringing forth children. Well, that's in marriage, and that's a man and a woman, not two women or two men or whatever configurations people put forth. And since I, like you, am very passionate about upholding marriage as the union of a man and woman, I don't want to see the floodgates open where we redefine marriage to be whatever people want it to be, polygamy, polyamory, whatever it is. So when people say, well, hey, this is a marriage, I mean, my wife offered me lunch a little while ago. She could present to me a loaf of bread, and I could say, oh, thank you for the chocolate bar. She said, no, this is a salad. No, Doris, you can use any labels you want, but we have to say historically and biblically and, from a biblical worldview, this is what marriage is, no matter what courts say, no matter how people say, well, it doesn't matter as long as you just love one another. And I don't doubt that Ellen has deep affection for her, and I don't say this disrespectfully, but she's with a third partner now, this Portia woman, and she probably has romantic feelings, whatever. But I just can't, in integrity, no matter what's said in our culture, put this as marriage.
Right, and once we redefine marriage, we make it meaningless. I've written about that, spoken about it. We'll be covering that in depth in my newest book when it comes out later this year. And Larry, honestly, I've known you many years. You're one of the nicest guys I know. You used to stay at a friend's house when you teach at our school in Pensacola. And I asked him, what's Larry like first thing in the morning? He said exactly the same, full of life, full of joy, gracious, loving, encouraging to others. Anyone who knows you knows there's not a mean-spirited bone in your body, but obviously you will not be party to redefining marriage just because you love God and you love people. Let's listen more to Ellen, clip number 3.
In the article, the pastor criticizes a lot of TV shows for promoting gay agendas. He says that Glee has over 5 characters. Modern Family had a gay wedding. Anderson Cooper boasts about his homosexuality. If you ask me, Larry's watching a lot of gay TV. His solution is for parents to encourage their kids to watch classic TV shows like Little House on the Prairie and I Love Lucy. It's not like I Love Lucy is a great example for kids. She's shoving all that chocolate in her mouth. That's not good for kids.
All right, Larry, your response to Ellen.
Well, when she says I'm watching a lot of gay TV, go back to the point. The premise of my article was there's an avalanche of LGBTQ programming today. And experts, so-called experts and celebrities and even politicians try to convey this idea, hey, everybody's gay, his brother's gay, 35% of the population is really gay. The reality is, and you know that, I mean, it's 2%, 2 to 3%, but the media tries to portray it like everybody is. And in, my response to Ellen, and I'd encourage people to go there. They can go to Charisma News, or if they go to LarryTomczak.com, they'll see the open letter that I tried to charitably address this. I'm just trying to say, bottom line is, no, I'm not watching a lot of the TV, but you don't have to be that involved to get the reports, hear the trend. So that's number one. And then in terms of what she's saying about the programming, and I'd say this, if I was sitting across from her on the show, I'd say, come on, Ellen, give me some slack here. I'd say, you don't have children. I've raised 4. I'm a grandparent now. And we want to shape and train children in morality and with proper values, and therefore we have to be selective with programming. So to supplement that wholesome programming, and there are good programs in cable and, you can stream, I suggested Also classic shows like Fugitive, Gunsmoke, Untouchables. Some of these are wonderful shows from the past, award-winning shows that my wife and I were watching. And I said that would be a good supplement. Well,
I just lost you there for a second. All right, hang on. All right, we have you back, Larry?
Okay. Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. We just lost you for a second. So you were mentioning the shows that you and your wife still watch?
Yes, and I have one of my sons. He's a pastor. His sons are watching Leave It to Beaver. But there were morals, there were lessons learned, there was something that was godly coming through. So since I'm responsible before God to shape and train and bring up children, I want to do it in the right way. So she, of course, made fun of that, and then she poked fun at I Love Lucy, suggesting, Ethel and Lucy were possible lesbians the way she showed it. And I don't agree with that. I know she's a comedian, very gifted, but
she's just being silly, right?
Yeah, being silly. So I'm not angry about it, but I just say, please give me a little breathing room here. And since she said, her whole role in life is to be more kind and compassionate, she said that, and maybe this is going to be one of the clips you have. And she said, I don't have an agenda. And I'm just saying, come on, Ellen, let's dialogue about this, and in a right spirit, in the tone in which you're saying you're promoting kind and affectionate and compassionate dialogue. Let's discuss this.
All right, let's listen to another clip. Maybe we can keep the conversation going just a couple minutes into the next segment. Clip number 4.
I'm not here to brainwash anyone, but.
And she's got this spinning thing, like a hypnosis thing.
Attention, youth of the world. I want you to live your lives being exactly who you are. Be true to yourself. The most important thing is to be true to yourself.
All right, so again, she's getting out her message, be true to yourself. Larry, your response to that?
Well, right in that same place, she was saying, I don't have an agenda. And I think, well, wait, you're on the cover of Time magazine declaring, yes, I'm gay, with your sitcom years ago. She represents the Human Rights Campaign and other advocacy groups promoting the LGBT agenda. Plus, she has other agendas in terms of being a vegan, in terms of transcendental meditation. There's other things. So I would just say, come on, Ellen, give me a fist bump, and let's be honest. You do have an agenda. I have beliefs and motivations and an agenda. So that's my response there. And again, I could have a lot of fun with her. I'd love nothing better than talk with her on the show.
All right, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go a couple more minutes. Stay right there, Larry. We'll play that one additional clip from Ellen. And then I just want Larry to talk to Ellen as if she was listening, share the gospel with her. If you're listening and you're in Ellen's camp and think, who's this Larry Tomczak guy, who's this Mike Brown guy, keep listening. We have a message of love, redemption, and wholeness in Jesus.
Larry, the only way I'm trying to influence people is to be more kind and compassionate with one another. That is the message that I'm sending out. I don't have an agenda.
Well, of course, when Ellen DeGeneres came out years ago, there was an agenda for her own life to, quote, be who she was, be true to herself. There was an agenda to encourage others to embrace their sexuality. Of course, from her viewpoint, it's a good thing to do. We all have agendas if we're active public figures. Best thing is to just admit it, say it, and then we discuss what the agenda is. 866-34-TRUTH. Michael Brown, welcome back to the Line of Fire. It is Friday. You've got questions. We've got answers. But I just wanted to bring my friend Larry Tomczak on. If you're not familiar with Larry, his name is spelled Tomczak. So if you just go to his website, we'll give it to you in a moment. You can read his columns every week, putting out quality columns on key issues and doing a great work in the city of Nashville, Tennessee. Larry, your open letter to Ellen, that's getting a lot of attention. She addressed you. That's being reported in the news. Now, you reaching back out to her, that's being quoted. What you said, firmly laying out what's right and wrong about marriage, the definition of marriage, that's getting quoted in different places. But let's say you had the opportunity to speak face-to-face with Ellen about her soul or any lost sinner that you're talking to, any person who doesn't know the Lord. You can talk to her directly about her soul, her life. What would you say to her?
Well, here's what I'd say. If I talk to her, I'd say this. First, Ellen, if you're open, not for publicity, give me a chance on your show. Even though the audience I know will be 100% probably in favor of you, give me a chance to talk to you in person. You'll pick up my spirit. Then I'd invite her, if she'd be willing, to come to sit with me, or we do these Is Gay Okay conferences. Let her just sit in anonymity in the back and listen to the spirit and the tone of what we're sharing, that we're all broken, we're all struggling. And then, Mike, I think I would look her in the eye and I would say this, Ellen, you know what, you and I can't quote it exactly, but it's in the response letter I gave to her. Years ago, she said, look, we're on a path, and if we're lost, if you find the right path, follow that. And I would say, Ellen, years ago, I was in a band as a drummer. I was a lost soul. That was ironically the name of our band. And I tried many different paths looking for fulfillment, purpose, and peace in life. And I discovered it not in religious systems, but in a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And for 45 years, literally that, I have followed the person of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, and his revolutionary teaching. And I would say, Ellen, we're all struggling. We are all sinners. Really, we have to acknowledge that according to the Bible. And I want to invite you to at least, get on a path with me. And would you be open, as you say you want to be, and be kind and all the rest? Let's do it. And explore with me who Jesus Christ is. And is he really the Son of God? He's not just pointing away to some founder of a religion. He is God, and he's been seeking you, Ellen, and he loves you, and he's gifted you. You're a comedic genius almost, the way you come across. Well, God gave you those gifts for a purpose, and I would invite her to consider the Lord Jesus Christ, who changed the lives of us and hundreds of millions all over the world. And I would do it with a smile and then say, give me 5. It's been great. And I'd stand up and then dance all around on her show like she does every day.
Larry, that's who you are. And by the way, in your article, you rightly point out that she's an active member of Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, PFLAG, also a spokesperson for the Human Rights Campaign's Coming Out Project. No agenda, hardly, but our agenda is ultimately to win her and others to Jesus the Lord. Larry, what's your website if people want to check out what you're doing?
Thank you. Yes, Mike, it's LarryTomczak.com. Larry Tomczak, and it's Tom, C as in cat, Z as in zebra, AK.com. And I hope some of the resources there will be a blessing to people. And Mike, thank you. You've been a 35-year friend of mine. You're one of the best people I know. I love and respect you so much. And I encourage every listener that's listening, get behind Mike, support him with prayers, finance, whatever you can do as he's advancing the gospel of the kingdom. So thank you, Mike. I love you so much.
My joy to be in this together with you, Larry. Can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks in Nashville.